It's okay to go backwards. It is okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fee. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, we locked in. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about how personally in my life I've currently gotten off track and how it can help you guys stay on track, or even if you do get off track, how it can help you get back on track. So just because you get off track doesn't mean that it's the end of the world and that you're gonna fail. It just means that it shows you what you need to work on, and it shows you really that there are certain areas in your life that you most likely are weak in, that you need to improve on in order to help yourself become and be in better positions than you were before. So currently, for example, my YouTube channel, I'm currently, as you're watching this video, on YouTube, but my channel is mostly inspired by the fact that I was inspired by other YouTubers who helped me get through a lot of situations in my life where I didn't have any guidance. So because I didn't have anybody in my life who I could talk to about certain things that I really wanted to talk about, that were really bothering me, I went to YouTube in order to help me be able to get through those things. And by watching so many inspiring men and women, I was able to do that. But recently I realized that my channel has been mostly a collaboration of vlogs over the past few things that I've posted. And I realized that me going through therapy, I've been really vulnerable to the fact that certain things that I'm going through are hard to talk about. But the fact of the matter is, if I'm sitting here trying to help other people through certain things that I once was able to get over, or that I'm currently going through now, I have to be open and honest about those things in order to really help people. So this is me now being vulnerable with the fact that I have spiraled, y'all. Like, I have spiraled, and this is me now coming back to the fact that I realized that I was spiraling. And what I mean by spiraling is that I was spiraling out of control, that I was on track at one point in time with the things that I was doing, what I wanted, and I realized that I have gone backwards. And for me personally, I realized that whenever I take a few steps forward, I end up taking a few steps backwards. And what that means is that I realize that whenever I have to take a step forward, it's going to require a lot of work. It's going to require a lot of, painful things to come up in my life where I'm going to have to deal with it. And my comfortability of staying in that place makes me want to self-sabotage or spiral backwards or do the things that I'm so used to doing because I'm used to those things and they're comfortable. And this is conscious to me now, but it wasn't conscious to me before. So I was unconscious to the fact that, why is it that every time I have a realization about something, or the fact that, I realize something about myself that's not as good as I thought, that's not good, or that's something that I need to fix or improve on, that I end up going backwards. And that's because unconsciously I've realized that whenever I have these certain realizations, that I am going to go through the hell and the process of having to unlearn these things. And the process of unlearning them is so, astronomically painful, that it makes me stay in the place or go backwards from what I've always known. And that has initially been what therapy has done to me. So currently I'm going through therapy, and therapy is helping me realize a lot of things about myself that I know that I need to work on, and the things that I have been working on. And honestly, therapy has been the best thing that I have done ever. Therapy has really helped me really look at myself and see myself for who I truly am, not the person who I thought I was, for who I truly was. And it's really calling me out on a lot of stuff that I do and a lot of things that I don't do and need to improve on. So the fact that I was going through that vulnerable time in my life where I was just starting therapy, I just was realizing all these things about myself, because I had so much that I felt like I had to work on. I went backwards because of the fact that, I know this thing, I know this. Even though I know it's bad for me, I knew that this is a comfortable spot for myself. And this is me unconsciously. I'm telling you guys everything that was unconscious from what I now realize. So I didn't realize it before, but I do realize it now. And now that I'm able to realize those things, I'm able to really sit back with myself and have check-ins with myself. So before I wouldn't have check-ins with myself. I wouldn't sit with myself and be like, hey, like, you know, how are you feeling about this, that, and the third? Like, you've realized something new. Like, okay, let's check in with ourselves to see how we're doing with that thing. Let's check in with ourselves to see whether or not we're going backwards with, you know, this scenario or thing. And I guess an example that I can give you guys is, like I said before, my example was my YouTube channel. I realized that on my YouTube channel, I was posting more vlogs than I was face-to-face videos like this, really expressing to you guys how life was going and how those realizations that I was coming to realize that I currently wasn't really in a position, I felt like, or a place to really share it with you guys. But I realized that I can't only share things when things are good. And not that I was trying to, it's just that unconsciously I hadn't even worked through the thing that I was going through. So how could I sit here and tell you guys about it if I haven't even gone through it yet? But the fact of the matter is, it's better to tell you guys what I'm going through in the moment of me going through it, so that you guys can see the beginning of where I started, where I am in the process, and where I was able to really get out of that thing or that scenario or that, you know, that realization that I had. So me sitting here making this video is me doing exactly that. Me going through therapy, I have really gone backwards and I've backtracked a lot because of the fact that I'm very vulnerable. And when I am very vulnerable, the vulnerable position that I was in, I realized that doing certain things made me spiral even more. So I had to really sit back with myself and realize that, like, oh my God, like, Fury Lynn, you are in a vulnerable position right now going through therapy, and opening or giving yourself, you know, putting yourself in certain positions and predicaments is only going to make that worse. So for instance, on one of my old videos, I talked about how I was ready to start dating again and how I really wanted to do this organization that was on campus that I really didn't get to really indulge in when I was here as a senior. So if you guys don't know, I am currently in school. I am a senior here at Georgia Southern University, but I was supposed to graduate in May, but I didn't due to the fact that my father had recently passed, and I failed 2 classes due to the fact that I was in emotional distress, and that emotional distress caused me to fail those 2 classes. So I'm here now still in this predicament of taking those classes in order to be able to commission in December, so that in January I can go off to Bullock, which is officer training school for Army officers in the military. And yeah, so that little background story. But anyway, going back to what I was actually expressing, I just wanted to give you guys a little tad bit just in case you guys were new here and didn't know much about me. But yeah, so I'm going through the process of really you know, going through that. And when I expressed to you guys that I want to join this modeling organization, when I joined the modeling organization, I also started therapy. And therapy, it opened a wide variety of me talking about my grief, me talking about, you know, what things did I do that I self-sabotage, or things that I had gone through in the process of my dad dying. He died of stage 4 cancer, and we knew that he was dying, but during his last final moments, I really wasn't able to talk with him or have a conversation with him, and that really bothered me. And it got to a point where I started to spiral backwards, self-sabotage, go back into my old ways. I really wasn't checking in with myself, and because I was in such a vulnerable position, and I didn't realize that, I knew that I was in a vulnerable position, but I didn't realize that, okay, because I'm in this vulnerable position, I can't allow myself to be in certain situations or predicaments where I'm around, you know, certain people or certain things and just a certain environment that is going to make me even more vulnerable to what I already was. And what I mean by that is that when me currently going through therapy, I can't be in a position where I'm just, you know, partying all the time, or not that I wanted to anyway, or just, you know, being with certain people. I realized that in my last video, said that I wanted to date and I wanted to start dating and everything like that. But me starting therapy, I realized that me going into the dating pool with this vulnerable mindset, with this vulnerable umbrella that was over me, I realized that maybe it's not the best time to date, because I'm currently getting over some things that I need to work on. And to invite somebody else into my life where it takes the focus off of me and onto them, it made me really vulnerable to becoming attached to that person. And it made me more vulnerable to you know, them disrespecting me, or me just letting, not necessarily letting, but just allowing things to unconsciously happen that I would never allow before. And because I was in this vulnerable position, I realized that, like, wow, there are certain things that I really had to take a step back on and focus more on myself than other people around me. Even with my friends, I realized that I was putting more attention into my friends because I wasn't trying to put that attention and that spotlight on me, because the fact that it was so painful to really think about all the things in therapy that I had to get over or I had to get through, and I was using these things in order to distract myself from what really mattered and what I really had to do. Don't get me wrong, I was taking heed to what my therapist was saying, and I go to group therapy. I'm in 3 group therapy classes, and I'm also in 1 individual therapy. So you can imagine how I'm going through, let me see, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then every 2 weeks on Wednesday, I'm going through therapy. And it's like every time I go to a group therapy class, it's like bam, 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 something is happening. Something someone said has made me think about something that I do. Something that somebody said has made me realize that, you know, I'm not happy with the position or place that I'm in because I'm doing these things that I used to do in the past that would help me cope with the feelings that I'm feeling now. But I'm glad that I was able to catch that and take a step back and be like, whoa, like, what is going on with you? Like, you need to chill. Like, what is going on? And I didn't know what was really going on until I realized that I was in a vulnerable position and a vulnerable place where I had to really set myself up and my life up in a place where I will be able to feel comfortable with, you know, the thing that I'm going through. Like, for instance, you wouldn't tell your girlfriend who just got over a breakup to go out and fuck anybody. And if you do, you're a bad friend. Don't do that. Not judging anybody, but like, why would you tell your friend who just got, you know, over a breakup to go, you know, go out, have a good time, fuck him, just go, you know, go fuck somebody and have a good time? It's like, no, because her sitting here going out and fucking somebody is only going to make her vulnerable, because her mind is already in a vulnerable, mushy state where she's not all the way herself as of right now. So the fact that, you know, if she does go out and fuck somebody, she's going to most likely feel bad about herself the next day, or she's probably not, or she's probably just going to, you know, be in a vulnerable position to where she unconsciously gets attached to this person. And when she does get attached to this person, it makes her, you know, spiral backwards. She probably has certain standards that she's not standing on now because of the fact that everything she's feeling is overriding her emotions, and she's not really taking the time and energy to put that into herself when she really needs it the most. And I realized that I was doing that myself, and that I was going backwards. And now that I am not going backwards, and now that I've realized that, and I've been able to get a grip on like myself just in general and the things that I do, I realized that, wow, like right now in this time, I do not need to date. Right now in this time, I don't need to have sex. Right now, I just need to focus on me. Like, you know, you guys know that Finding Nemo thing was like mine. Yeah, I need to focus on me and what I have going on, because if I don't, then I'm going to spiral again. And I'm not saying, you know, don't spend time with your friends. I'm not saying don't go out. I'm not saying that I'm not gonna, you know, have fun and have a great time, or, you know, every once in a while flirt with somebody who's flirting with me back, or, you know, just have a great time. I'm saying that I'm going to limit that amount of things that I do, because I know that I need to be with myself, by myself, and just with friends who truly care about me and what I have going on, in order for them to understand that, like, okay, I can't go out and party right now because, you know, I'm feeling this way. And if I go out and party, I know that I'll, you know, be attracted to somebody who will be able to distract me from what I'm going through. And because I know myself in that way, in that aspect, because I've done it before in the past, I allow myself to really sit back and be real with myself and honest, and just be like, do you really need to go out right now, girl? Like, do you really? And the answer is most likely always going to be no. Or, you know, I'll go back and forth with myself and be like, okay, what are the pros to this? What are the cons to this? What am I actually going to be able to do in a situation where I find a median? And it's crazy because in group therapy today, we talked about finding the median in between things. So I realized that I'm the type of person, I love when somebody really takes the time and the energy to come after me. I don't like people who are lackluster. I don't like people who, you know, just feel like they're obligated to get the cookie and just obligated to have your time and energy, and who sit here and, you know, just waste your time or don't take consideration to who you are and what you have going on. That's just so, to me personally, that's just so unattractive. It's unattractive when somebody gets my number and then they don't, you know, text back for like a day or two, thinking that they're gonna sit here and continue to talk to me. It's like, you got my number, you were intentional about getting my number, but you weren't intentional about keeping my attention, and that shows me that you're lackluster, and that is exactly what I mean, that right there. So when somebody, I realize that for myself, I like somebody who, like I said, goes after me, so who chases me, who lets me know that they truly want me. And I feel like I value myself in a way where I want the person who I either, you know, don't want anything serious with to still earn it. Like, earn it. Like, earn it. Why would you not want to earn it? Like, come on. It's like, I love the chase. I love them really letting me know and showing me that they want to come after me, because I feel like I'm that girl. I feel like I deserve that shit. And if the other person does that, then whoop-de-doo, go find somebody else who sit here and who'll let you run circles around them, because I personally am not. So yeah, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, therapy has been one of the best things that I've ever gone through. It's really helped me open up and realize that there are a few things that I have to work on that I didn't know that I had to work on before, and that's okay. But one thing in therapy that I learned today with going backwards is that it's okay to go backwards. It is okay, because we're human. We're not always gonna make the perfect decisions. We're not always gonna, you know, never make mistakes. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna go backwards sometimes. As long as we sit here and realize it and reel ourselves back in and realize where we want to go to, and the position that we're in is not where we want to be, and we change it, it's okay, because we're human, and humans, we're gonna do that. We're gonna fuck up. We're gonna not do things that, you know, align with us all the time. It's just, you have to take the time to realize that if this is something that you want, you will come back to it and you will realize it. And it might take a long time to come back to it, but as long as you come back, it's okay. Because think about a time where in the past where you've gone backwards and you came back to yourself and you were like, ew, what am I doing? What the fuck? And you decided to change that aspect. But then, you know, a few months down the line, you do it again. And it's like, don't beat yourself up over it. Really sit with yourself and realize what you're going through is most likely you allowing yourself the time and the grace to really get to know yourself in that point in time. Because if you're think about it, if you're constantly going back to the same thing over and over and over again, doing the same thing, expecting different results, insanity, then something needs to change, because you're driving yourself insane. So if you're constantly going back to this man or back to this woman or back to this, you know, predicament over and over again, and nothing is changing, then eventually you'll get tired of it. You'll get tired of it and you'll change. But if you don't, you'll recognize that, you know, I'm not saying sit here and be like, you know, I went back to him and it's okay. No, sometimes it's not okay. But you don't have to beat yourself up over it. You just have to realize that, like, okay, what I'm doing, this is not okay. And I want to change this. And whenever I change this is when my life is going to change. And I had to realize that too. I had to realize that once I change this specific thing that is happening in my life, or these specific scenarios, or this, you know, specific trait that I do have that I don't want to, you know, be connected to or attached to, then I'll get my ass up and change when I'm sick and tired of going through it. And guess what? I did. I'm here right now telling y'all that, y'all, I am not perfect in any type of way, shape, or form. But I'll be damned if I allow myself to sit here and stay in a position where I am not putting myself in the best regards that I can. Like, if everybody else is sitting here disappointing me, I will not sit here and disappoint myself. Even when it feels like I will not disappoint myself, because I know that that thing that I have done, I will always come back from it. I will always get my shit together. I will always trust myself enough to know that I balance out myself. That's why I have a sun on my shoulder. So, TMI, you know, you get a little flash, but this is my sun tattoo. So this sun tattoo, basically the representation of the moon and the sun, for me personally, I came up with the idea because the moon and the sun, they push and pull the gravitation of the earth and they balance it out. And I am going to get the moon on my shoulder, because I balance out myself. The sun and the moon, and I'm earth, I'm grounded. So whenever I look at the sun, I look at it and I realize that, you know, I got my own back. I know exactly what I'm feeling. I know exactly what I need to do. And if I don't, I'm gonna go find out what I need to do in order to make sure that I'm good. Because I'm not gonna sit here and wallow in distress just because I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna go and figure out what's going on. I'm gonna go figure that shit out. And I feel like you guys should too. So I encourage you guys that whenever you do go backwards, take a minute to do a check-in with yourself.